Today, we're going to talk about working while receiving Social Security benefits and the new rules for 2025. In this video, you will learn penalties for working while collecting benefits, what counts as earnings, how working can reduce spousal benefits, and what happens to your benefits if you go over the earnings limit. First, we've got to talk about this thing called FRA, which stands for full retirement age. It's really the key to understanding the entire Social Security equation. Your FRA is based on your birth year, and it's the age when you can claim your full Social Security benefit. If you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. And what if you want to retire earlier? Well, the first year you can start collecting Social Security benefits is at age 62. Knowing your full retirement age is important because as you reach that age, you can work as much as you want without any impact on your Social Security benefits. But before you reach 67, there's this thing called the earnings test that we need to talk about. If you work and receive Social Security benefits before your full retirement age, your benefits can be reduced. In 2025, you can earn up to $23,400 before your benefits are effective. If you earn more than that, $1 is withheld for every $2 you go over the limit. Here's an example. Let's say you are 63 and have been collecting Social Security for over a year, but you get tired of sitting around the house all day, so you start driving for a rideshare service like Uber in the afternoons. You get pretty good at it and end up making $36,000 in 1 year. That's $12,600 over the earnings limit. The earnings limit rule says for every $2 over the limit, $1 is withheld from your Social Security check. So the total withholding is $6,300 for the year. If your monthly Social Security benefit was $2,000 per month, then the $6,300 reduction might result in no benefit for the first 3 months of the next year until the withheld total is met. Okay, but what if you retire midway through the year and already made a bunch of money from your job? Well, Social Security has a special rule for this situation too. Here's the deal. Even if you've earned more than the yearly limit, you'll still get your full benefit check for any whole month that Social Security considers you to be retired. Now let me break down what they mean by retired. If you're going to be under full retirement age for all of 2025, Social Security says you're retired in any month where you make $1,950 or less. For anyone reaching their full retirement age in 2025, the limit is a bit higher at $5,180 per month. But, and this is important, if you work for yourself, you can't be putting in too many hours at your business and collecting Social Security checks. If you're working more than 45 hours a month in your own business during your first year of retirement, Social Security says that's too much. Or if you're doing work that requires a lot of skill or involves managing a sizable business, even 15 to 45 hours might be too much too. Let me give you a real-world example to make this crystal clear. Let's say John decided to retire at 62 in June 2025, but before retiring, he'd already made $37,000 in the first few months. He gets his Social Security checks in July, August, and September. Then in October, he gets this idea to start his own business. He works about 15 hours a week and makes another $3,000 after expenses. Now, if you're doing the math at home, you'll see that John made $40,000 in total in 2025, way over that $23,400 limit we talked about earlier. But here's where that special rule kicks in. John still gets to keep his full Social Security checks for July, August, and September. Why? Because during those months, he wasn't self-employed and didn't make more than $1,950 per month. But here's the catch. He won't get benefits for October, November, or December. That's because he was working too many hours in his new business during those months. Once 2026 rolls around, Social Security will just look at his total earnings for the year. The special monthly earnings test and the substantial services rule no longer applies. Now, let's talk about what happens in the year you reach your full retirement age, because things change a bit then too. Let's say your birthday is in July. For the first part of the year, you'll have a new higher earnings limit of $62,160. The deduction changes too. Only $1 in benefits is deducted for every $3 earned above this limit. Earnings are only counted up to the month before reaching full retirement age in that year. But once you hit July, that limit is gone for the rest of the year. It's like a nice birthday present from the Social Security. Now let's tackle this question that's probably on everyone's mind. What income actually counts towards those earning limits? The earnings test only considers the money you make from work, like W-2, 1099, or self-employment income. They also include bonuses, commissions, and vacation pay. Investments are in the clear, like dividends, interest, and capital gains. None of that matters for the earnings test. The same goes for pensions, annuities, retirement account distributions, or any other passive income sources. Veterans benefits and other government or military retirement benefits are not included in the earnings test either. Social Security is laser focused on earnings from your job, side hustle, or self-employment once you start collecting benefits. Okay, here's something interesting about spousal benefits. The earnings test is based on individual income, not household income, so your spouse's earnings won't impact your benefits at all. However, if someone is receiving benefits based on your work record, and they go over those earnings limits, their benefits might be reduced. Here's something really important that a lot of people don't realize about the earnings limit. If you go over the limit, it's not just your benefits that get paused. If your spouse or kids are receiving benefits based on your work record, their payments will be put on hold too. It's kind of like hitting the pause button that affects the whole family all at once. But don't panic. This isn't forever. It's just a pause. Once your earnings drop below the limit, those benefits can start up again. But here's an interesting exception: your ex-spouse. Their benefits are not affected by your earnings. So no matter how much you earn, they will keep receiving their spousal benefits from your work record. Okay, let's say you go over the limit. When does Social Security start withholding your benefits? Well, they start holding back payments right when the year begins. They don't do any guesswork or make partial payments based on what they think you will earn. Here's how it works. Let's say we're talking about your 2025 earnings. Once the year's over and Social Security knows exactly how much you made, they'll do the math. They'll figure out exactly how much of your benefits should have been held back. Then one of two things happens. If they held back too much money, they'll send you what they owe you. If they didn't hold back enough, they'll let you know that you need to pay some back by pausing your benefits. Now let me address something that makes many people nervous. What happens to those withheld benefits? Well, at your full retirement age, Social Security recalculates your benefit amount and takes into account any months where your benefits were withheld because you exceeded the earnings limit. Those months count towards your final benefit amount. It might seem complicated now, but it all evens out in the end. Okay, let me give you some simple steps you can take to stay on top of all of this. One of the best things you can do is contact the Social Security Administration if you think you might exceed your earnings limit. All you need to do is file a work report, which basically updates them on your expected earnings for the year. Being prepared can help you avoid having your benefits paused and will give you a better idea of what your monthly payments will look like throughout the year. Now, I want to talk about some potential mistakes to avoid. One common mistake is trying to game the system by underreporting your earnings. The consequences can be serious. The Social Security Administration will eventually receive your tax information, and if they find any inconsistencies, you could be facing penalties and a lot of unnecessary stress. Another trap is getting so focused on those earnings limits that you lose sight of the bigger picture, your overall retirement plan. Remember, claiming Social Security early means accepting a permanently reduced benefit. But if you can delay claiming while you're still working, you could potentially boost your lifetime income by tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And since the Social Security benefit formula uses your 35 highest earning years, you still have a chance to increase your monthly payment. For example, if you continue working and earn more than you did in some of your previous years, those higher earnings can replace lower earning years in the calculation. That means your future monthly benefit could increase if you wait to start Social Security until a later date. However, some people don't want to wait for a bigger benefit and want their money now. That's why I created this video about 7 new reasons to start collecting Social Security at 62.